What's happening, Ice Cubes? My name is Matty Ice Cube, and this vlog is way overdue because I completely forgot to update you guys on the situation at hand. Now, firstly, you may have noticed there's not a lot of content coming out very regularly. Like, I've barely been getting a video up every week. And it's getting harder for me to do so because I have such little time to sit down, record a video, edit it properly, and most of all make it entertaining, because work has been such a drain on me. And the reason why I'm working so much now instead of before is because I am going on a trip here in about a month and a half, give or take. Because I'm flying out May 12th, and I don't come back until the 25th. So that's a 2-week gap in content right there. And now there's going to be hardly anything. I'm going to try to build up videos for that trip. And hopefully, and I do stress maybe. I'm stressing the maybe because I have to be very responsible with the cash that I have. I can't just go out and go buy shit anymore. Or at least for right now. Because after this trip, I'm going to start saving for a $2,000 computer. Which, this trip is almost $2,000. And if I saved a little more, I would just get my computer instead. But I really, 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 really want to go on this trip. Much more so than getting a new computer, because this computer has been great to me. This computer has been fan-fucking-tastic. It changed the entirety of the quality of my channel, because I could play newer games. I could play games that my original fucking shitty laptop couldn't handle. Yes, I still have it. It's still dead. I still killed it. I still have not been able to get it to work, and it is a fucking mess. I have no idea why. It is gross. I forget how long it's been sitting there. It doesn't even turn on. Like, that's how dead this fucking thing is. I could probably sell it for scrap. It's probably worth something. Probably not good enough to reuse, because it still has a bunch of my shit. Actually, no, I don't think it has anything on it anymore, except my account stuff that I have to get rid of. So even if I were getting it working again, I would not be able to use it. I wouldn't be able to get rid of it because it has a lot of my personal info on there. So I need to get the whole drive wiped. And maybe that'll bring the whole thing back online. I have no idea. See, I'm not the best when it comes to computers. There are a lot more people smarter about computers than I am. I'm just a natural with computers. Like, I do the things you probably shouldn't do because I don't know any better, but then as soon as I learn it, I undo what I just did and do it the right way. Like, my dad and I built a computer together, and that is the most experience with computers that I've ever had ever, other than, like, projects in school and such, which I don't even remember half of. Anyway, I'm off topic again. I'm so bad at rambling. I ramble on and on and on and on. And it's a huge, awful habit of mine. And my voice is not the best right now because I've thrashed it. Like, I have almost full-on laryngitis, which is just inflammation in the voice box thing area. So it's also getting harder to swallow, so I can't just, ow, like I usually do. But the second thing is, I'm getting a haircut. I'm getting rid of all of this, and it's going back to its original length. It's going back to its shortness, and maybe I'll grow it out a little bit, like back towards like the transition period from being really short to being in a ponytail, because there were times when I would tie just the back area of my hair up just because it would scrape my neck so badly. My ponytail does that, but it's actually really soft. My hair is really soft. It's also a fucking mess. But yeah, that's something coming up. Also, fuck, I'm turning 21 in 2 days. So that's something. I'm not going to go get pissed drunk just yet. My sister will probably make me do that later on. But it should be fun. She should be able to rein me in, because I've drank before. Like, I have experience drinking. Not a lot. I think the most drunk I ever got was Deceit. I think it was Drunk Deceit. I got so fucking hammered. And I kept going after that video was over. And then I just sat in the call with everyone, and I got so fucking pissed drunk that I had to run upstairs to go grab water. I made it up the stairs, grabbed the water, came down the stairs perfectly fine. And then I tripped over my own feet right over here as I was coming over to the computer. That was a good night. I remember that. I went and grabbed the water because I did not want to wake up with a hangover. So I drank like 4 bottles of water, and I was like, I don't want to drink anything else. And then I started eating, oh god, what did I eat? I think it was pretzels or bread or something. I can't remember. But that was a good night. Anyway, more rambling from me. Apparently it's my trademark. I'm so bad at that. Hell, even looking back at younger me, well, older but younger, my older videos but younger me, I rambled a lot. And to be fair, those videos were a lot more entertaining when I just rambled than the stuff that I do now, where I go quiet for certain game sections because I have to focus so heavily. I have such a bad habit of doing internal commentary when I should be doing external commentary for you guys, because to be fair, my brain goes 80 miles a minute, 70, 80 miles a second, and it's ridiculous sometimes, and that's why I have such a bad issue with rambling. It's also why I forget a lot of things. Like, some days I just completely forget about my channel altogether, and then I go to my computer and I'm like, oh yeah, I have one of these! But I'm so fucking bad about it. I want to get better. Like, I'm dabbling into the heavier side of editing, so my editing time is going to increase, which is why it's so much harder to do videos now, because I want to edit them so much. But like, the horror game stuff is going to stay completely unedited. Like, fun games, like Goat Simulator, and because I do intend to continue my little trope of Goat Simulator, because I'm not done with all the DLCs just yet. That last one was really, really fun to edit, and it was probably the most edited video that I ever had. I spent the most time editing it, other than my year anniversary videos, because I spent so fucking long on those. It may not look like it, and the qualities are the quality is terrible, but like, if I were to re-download them now, and put them through my new editing software, which isn't much of an upgrade from Bandicoot, it's just going from Bandicoot to Mojave, which you guys can laugh at me all you want. I am not super huge on editing, because sometimes I feel like it's a complete waste of time. In my own opinion, the super cool edits that most YouTubers use, while they can be funny or cool, they're ultimately pointless. Because it doesn't get you, like, views and subscribers faster. Because usually those super heavy edits are usually later on in the video. But to me, they're completely pointless. Later on, like, years later down the line, I'll probably look back and be like, wow, I was such a fucking idiot. I do these all the time and people love them. But that's just my standpoint on it now. Right now, I'm not a huge heavy editor. I am an editor. I'm an editor for Mystic Hills. I helped write it. But in terms of video editing, I suck, to be honest. I suck. But I'm getting better. 'Cause recently, and this is a big big spoiler for people who haven't watched Mystic Hills. I finished editing, I think this was just a couple days ago. I finished editing the season 1 and 2 movies. Cause originally Lady Mania didn't want to do movies, and I'm like, it'd be such a good idea though. And so, even though she's on board now, which is typical, I know her too well to give up on certain things. I push for certain things because I know she'll love them in terms of the roleplay area, but after Mystic Hills, I will have basically zero involvement. Because I was super involved from day 1 of season 2. Like, after season 1 was over, I came over, I'm like, hey, you need some help? I'd love to help you on your project. And she's like, sure, yeah, let's team up, let's double team this and get it done. And I helped write a huge portion of the season 2 script and basically half of the entire season 3 script, which you guys are gonna love. You guys have no idea what you're in for. It is just mwah, we outdid ourselves. We love it so much. It's not completely finished yet because we have a couple roadblocks to get over, but it's gonna be something real special, and your guys are gonna love it. But to cap off this video, I wanted to address something that I've been really down lately on, in terms of the video side of things, like in terms of the YouTube side of things. Like, I haven't gotten very far in my nearly 2.5 years on YouTube, and I expected this. I expected this coming in, like, hey, nobody wants to watch my shit, so I'll just make whatever the hell I want. And I loved that mindset. It was the mindset I would stay in for 8-9 months into my career. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Not that I don't love it now. I still love this little part-time hobby of mine. But it's come to a point where I have to look at it from an adult standpoint. Looking at it from an adult standpoint, I'm not going anywhere. That doesn't mean I'm quitting. I'm not quitting YouTube. Like, I made that absolutely 100% clear. That even if my channel takes a dive, I'm not going to just stop. Because the algorithm changes all the time. One of these days, I'll get a lucky break, and I'll find people who actually thoroughly enjoy my content, and I can entertain them, and do what I love to do, because I'm an entertainer at heart. I've said it 100 million times in all the hundreds of vlogs that I've done. I'm an entertainer at heart. I love making people laugh. Whether it's just from my stupid babbling, the extravagance of my movements, or just being me, because that's just who I am. I'm a silly bitch. Let's just leave it at that. I'm a silly bitch, and everybody loves me. You can't hate me. Well, there are a couple people who hate me, but you really can't hate me if you get to know me. I can be an asshole to everyone, but everybody still loves me because they know that I just have that type of personality. I'm that huge, outgoing person that loves to be loud and make fun stuff. Because I'm the fun guy. I love to have fun. But when it comes down to it, doing things that are fun aren't always the smart things to do. And I learned that the hard way growing up. Like, I learned that really, really hard. Because I had a pretty, I don't want to say strict childhood, because there are people who have had worse childhoods than I have. Like, I was pretty much a free spirit as a child. And I was very eccentric, to say, just to level that out. I was pretty eccentric as a kid. I was very weird and quirky and didn't have a lot of friends, and just the normal nerdy type of kid that I was. And looking back, I still miss being that nerdy little kid that everybody loved but didn't hang out with because I was weird. And I made a lot of mistakes. I made many mistakes. Even in my short little young life, I've made hundreds of mistakes. I've screwed people over. I've hurt people, physically and emotionally. I can't talk. But looking back now, I'm a different person. I am. I truly am. I know people who say that they've changed don't really change a whole lot, but I've been called a lot of things. But having wisdom beyond my years is probably the most I can't think of the word. I'm blanking out because I'm rambling and I can't stop rambling because I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a professional idiot. Leave me alone. Having wisdom beyond my years is something that I've heard from a bunch of different people, like, who have lived 3-4 times longer than I have. And that, while it makes me feel like I've grown, it also makes me feel like the people around me aren't thinking, like truly thinking about the things that they really, really, really love. Now, this is just from my perspective. I'm not trying to hit it. I'm not trying to aim this at anybody, but sometimes I really can't stand people. Sometimes I really cannot, because they make such stupid decisions that if I were in their shoes, there was 100% no way I would ever do that ever. And there are many, many, many billions of people in the world who are different, but very much in this modern world have the same mindset. And I know this is like first world problems and blah, blah, blah. Social injustice, this. Abortion, that. It's stupid. Like, I stopped meddling in the affairs of, like, governmental stuff, religion, and such like that, because it just causes problems. It causes arguments, it causes fights, and it's just not good for anyone. No one wins at the end of the day. Like, if you're out there fighting for a movement that is 100% truly good, then good on you. You're taking that step. But if you're fighting for a movement that will actively hurt every single person around you, then what are you thinking? That's stupid. It's very self-centered, and I can't stand self-centeredness. Like, I hate myself a lot for that. I'm gonna be truly honest. I hate myself for needing to provide for myself more than I provide for other people, which is why I wanted to give something. And it's mainly the reason why I wanted to start the charity event that I can't even live up my word to now, because I can't pay for it. I can't do it because of something I want to do. I hate myself for that. I really do. And it really aggravates me every single time whenever I do something just for me over doing something for someone else. And it gets harder. It only gets harder as you get older. Like, you notice a lot more things going on in the world as you get older. The naiveness of being a child is something to cherish, because as you get older you realize how ugly the world is and how much better it could be if only we would work together. It's really disappointing for a lot of reasons why we can't just all get along. And I know why. It's because we all have different beliefs. We all have different personalities. There's
there's very few things that everyone can agree on beyond basic needs, beyond basic survival needs. And it's frustrating for a lot of reasons because people aren't willing to work that hard. And it's sad. It really is. It's really, really sad that people refuse to work hard. Some people, not everyone, some people refuse to work hard to make something great. Now, there's a lot of good that has been done in the past few years in terms of all sorts of stuff. I can't think of anything right now because I'm stupid. I'm very much out of the loop in terms of current news. So there's probably been a dozen things that have gone on that I just don't know about. But there's a lot of things that I truly cannot stand about our world. And it's really sad for me to see that we all just can't come together on a common goal and work with things one step at a time. Because that's life. You can only take things one step at a time. The moment you try to take on more than one thing at once is when you fail. Because that's just something I've noticed in my life. Like, I tried to do 7, 8 different things all at once, and I failed. Because I didn't think everything through. I thought what I was doing was right, when I was absolutely in the wrong. And I guess that's the power of reflecting and hindsight. Like, god damn it, if we had the power of hindsight, if we had the power of foresight, just to see the stupid decisions that we would make, just to stop ourselves from making them, then we would live in a perfect world. And there's no such thing as a perfect world. Besides in video games and the internet. Even the internet is flawed, though. Like, there are so many different facets of the internet that I absolutely despise. For instance, and I know everyone's going to hate me for it, is social media. Social media is by far the number one thing on my list. If I were ever to have any sort of power to get rid of anything, it would probably be social media. Because there are so many problems and fights and altercations that happen because of social media. Now, there's also a lot of good that comes from social media, don't get me wrong, but there's far more bad and worse things that happen because of social media, because it's so open and not controlled. Now, am I saying that it should be monitored 100% of the time and people should be giving up their personal info? No, not even a little bit. Am I saying should there be more requirements for using social media? Absolutely. Because I think Twitter and Facebook are the biggest ones at fault. And it's just awful. I got rid of my Facebook a long time ago because of all the things that I would just see all the time of people just absolutely smashing on each other just to make themselves feel better. And I just can't stand that. I can't stand bullies. Because I've been the bullied and I've been the bully. I've been in both sides. And neither side is a good spot to be in. So the answer is to just eliminate it completely. Which is impossible. I know. A lot of these things are impossible to achieve. But that's just the way it is. A lot of the things that I want for... Oh god, I just spit all over my screen. Thank god my webcam didn't pick that up because it was just a spray all over my screen. It's because I'm all phlegmy and sick. My voice is way better than it was yesterday, to be perfectly honest. I couldn't even get up yesterday. I was so sick. And I've diverted from my topic again. But another big thing is, like, I always ask the simple questions a lot. I ask the simple questions a lot. Like, why can't we just all get along? Why can't we all just agree to disagree? Why can't we all just stop fighting? And the answer is always the same. Because this, because that, because these reasons. Because people have to reason out why they do things. And it's pointless. There's no reason to argue, ever. There is no reason. The only reason you ever argue something is because you believe in your personal opinion. I know that was a bit aggressive, but in your personal opinion, you are right. And there are a lot of people who think they're always in the right. And you're not always right. No one is always right. It's just the way it is. Your biggest mistake was assuming you're always right. And I think the worst people at fault are the people who desperately want to cling that they are always right, just to cope with their lives. And that's a whole other topic that I'm not even going to get into, because that has more to do with that person and their psyche or how they were raised than anything else. Wow, I got really, really, really into this. And I'm not sure how to jump out of it now. Cuz this went from an update to talking about Mystic Hills to talking about, well, it went from an update to the things that I love and the things that I don't like, to Mystic Hills, to this big controversial stuff that I'm talking about that's happening in the world today and how I think it should be. But these are all just my opinions. And you guys don't have to listen to my opinions ever. Like, it's my opinion. It's not attacking anybody. It's not proving you wrong. It's just an opinion. It's just my point of view. It's the conclusion that I've come to from my point of view. And if you want to sit there and argue with me, go ahead. I'm not going to argue with you because you just don't understand the concept then. And that's a whole other thing. Because people always assume the worst when people give other people opinions. And it's stupid. It's just to cause conflict. Some people, and this is another thing that I absolutely despise about the internet, are the trolls. Trolls are literally are hell-bent on ruining other people's enjoyment in things, their lives, or other such scummy, stupid bullshit that they just get enjoyment out of. And they do it for fun. They do it for fun. And not only is that complete and utter bullshit, it's also a breach in other people's privacy. It's a breach in a lot of things. It's a breach in our freedom of speech, to be perfectly honest. Because if you're manipulating the truth just to get on someone's nerves, then you shouldn't ever be on the internet. It's just a fact. If your only enjoyment out of the internet is going around causing fights, arguments, conflicts over little tiny things that mean absolutely diddly, you should not be on the internet. Because there are many people who also shouldn't be on the internet For example, there are extremists who should never touch the internet ever, or any type of social media, or ever talk to anyone outside of their views because they're completely unreasonable. You can't talk to an extremist. They will argue their point till they die, or are proven wrong, which they will completely deny. Even if you prove them wrong, they will deny it, no matter what. Because I have sat down with people who are extremists and pointed out where they are wrong, and they try to counterpoint with utter bullshit just because they want to be right. Just because it is their belief. But then there are all the sensitive people who are sensitive to a lot of the issues who shouldn't be on the internet either. Because if you're sensitive to insults or opinions, get away from the computer, get off social media, because those very same people I talked about earlier are going to target you. If you don't have thick enough skin, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, I'm really not. I'm really trying not to. If you don't have thick enough skin to take opinions or insults, you should not be on the internet. You should not be on social media, because those same people that I was talking about earlier are going to target you. And they are going to specifically target you because you don't have thick enough skin for it. And I'm talking from that perspective because I was one of those people. I refused to be on the internet for a long time because of the way people would talk. And then eventually I got over it because that's just how people are. So I just ignore the fuckers. And if you ignore them, they go away. They realize that they can't get under your skin. And they go away and try and target someone else. But I think the biggest mistake that anyone on the internet ever are the people who target trolls specifically. If your only reason is to target people in any way, shape, or form on the internet or social media, you should not have access to the internet or social media. Because, once again, it's going to cause arguments, conflicts, altercations. It's going to cause all of those. Because they will fight you tooth and nail to the very fucking end. Because they desperately want to be right. And they desperately want self-gratification. Because, in my mind, there are two types of trolls. There are the fun trolls that only troll people as a joke. Like a very, very lighthearted joke. Those are the people I tolerate. I can live with that. If it's just a simple joke, like the shit that I do, I make jokes all the time. That's the type of shit people troll other people with on the internet. Most of the time. It's the people, and then there's the other type of trolls, the scum of the internet, who literally go out of their way to slam everything a person ever does. Every action on the internet that a person does, the troll will slam you for it, and it doesn't matter what you do, because they're only targeting you because of whatever reasons they think you're worth targeting. And I absolutely despise those people. And I'm going to be 100% honest, those fuckers can go die in a hole. Very slowly. It's just awful what people can do to each other. Not only in real life, but also over the internet. Especially over the internet. Because a lot of that second type of trolls, drive those people to suicide. And that really hits me personally. Because I stood on that edge. Multiple multiple times. And I refuse to stand on that edge ever again. Because it's not the answer. Your life is far too valuable if you're alive than if you're dead. Because there's so much good and potential for everyone if they would just realize there's far more we have in common than we allow ourselves to believe. And I think I'm going to leave that there, because I've been rambling for almost 40 minutes. But just think about it. For once, just sit down and think about what's wrong with the world. Because there are a lot of people who don't even bother. There are a lot of people who turn a blind eye because they think their lives are better without thinking about it. Which is kind of right and kind of wrong. You're right in the terms it's better for you, so you don't get a headache and start bitching about everything. But it's also a bad thing because then you're not helping anyone other than yourself. And I completely dropped social media because, well, other than Twitter, I think that Twitter is literally the only thing I have. And I don't have very many people at all to talk with. Like, I follow a few people. I follow creators. I follow people. Some creators are following me. It's just, that's just it. Like, I refuse to jump in on conversations because it's never a good idea. If you don't understand the full story of the conversation going on, you shouldn't be in the conversation at all. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking because my voice really hurts and because I've been talking for far too long than I should have. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Click the links in the description below for more videos that I've done, as well as other YouTubers I've worked with. And I will see all of you in the next video. Bye!